This here is the first house I actually ever owned. It's a townhome in Fridley that I bought about 6 years ago now. So 3 years ago, we moved out, moved into a different home, and ended up renting this home. And the renters that I put in here is my first time ever renting a place. It's really daunting actually the first time you do it. But so put in a couple of renters here, and for 3 years they stayed. And they were amazing tenants. And I would say the hardest thing I ever had to do with them, and most of my rentals ended up being, was one time their refrigerator went out. So out of those 3 years, the hardest thing I had to deal with was replacing the refrigerator. Now there was a couple of odds and ends things that I had to have done and everything, but over those 3 years, I had renters that paid on time. They got married while they lived here. You know, they were super nice people, and it was actually kind of sad to see them go. You know, and I think it ends up being is understanding a little bit about how owning a rental ends up going. And I think a lot of people have a lot of fear, and I did too, of going, what if I get a bad renter? What if they don't pay rent? What if they destroy the place? And, you know, 3 years later, this place looks nearly identical to when I first rented it to them. So I think a little bit about the story ends up being is, you know, it is daunting. It is really scary the first time you do it, but one, just be strict on your approval process of who you bring in. Make sure they have a good application. You know, make sure they're a tenant that's going to be there long term, and then you're going to have good communication with them. You solve problems for them when they come up. Have a good handyman to be able to come out and do the things for you and help you out with things. And in the long run, I think it ends up being really worth it for you. And maybe in another video here, I'll kind of talk about how that rental process kind of goes and how it went for me. But after 4 years now, I have it re-rented, or I'm going to have it re-rented. I had a few people come by today, but you know, one of the easiest ways to start your rental process is your home is going, hey, I live in this home, and when you're able to, and buy another home and take the home that you have and turn that into a rental property. You'll be glad that you did it, especially in the market that we've had. It's worked out great, and it's been really gratifying actually too to have renters in here and give them a space to live. So that's a little bit about my first rental property. Here it is.